Once again, Sue can't help but win. Straight up farming W's out here. Let's get into it. Well, another chapter has come and gone, and all I can say is,
hey, that's pretty good.
This chapter was kinda split as far as people liking it and disliking it, and I personally had a good time, and since my opinion is the only one that matters, I'm gonna tell it to you now. But in order to do that, we gotta hit the play-by-play. On the play. We don't even get a lead into this chapter, it just starts on the play with a character named Juniper Lumen giving an impassioned speech about becoming society's newest savior by exposing corruption. Naturally, her self-righteousness is interrupted by her friend Rena, who sees Juniper's position as more of a way to get gossip. And we get the idea that Rena also likes to flirt around by the comment about the number of boys in her phone contacts. This is going to be important later. But the form of society's destructor came in the form of the evil Tegan Thatchett. Her and her family are the root of all evil as they take from the poor and use that money to fund philanthropic enterprises to make themselves look good, all the while cops and politicians look the other way with the bribes they get from the family. Tegan also has the eyes of every boy in town, but today she's on a mission to evict a poor guy named Morris from his house so she can bulldoze it for luxury apartments. Sadly, Morris is unable to find a new home on such short notice, but Tegan is having none of it. She tells Jaden, her #1 simp, to break the leg of Morris's little brother. Unable to stop them, Morris agrees to leave his house. Aww. But fear not, Juniper Lumen is here to expose the evil Tegan with facts and evidence. But it's not over yet, as Tegan has Jaden send lewd messages to everyone in her phone's contacts list, and now no one will take Juniper seriously. Tegan walks away all smug-like, but Rena comes around to pick Juniper up, telling her that at least now she'll get a ton of dates, and she's even willing to date some of the guys herself. The punches keep coming as Juniper is not taken seriously by the police, and Rena suggests that she sleeps with all the cops in the police station to get them on her side. This does not improve Juniper's mood. And on a side note, I think it's kind of insane that the school wrote off on a line where a character tells another character to just sleep with a bunch of police so that they'll get on her side. And now Morris is homeless and Juniper is super sad, but fear not again. Misty Beacon is here to save the day. She's got a sussy little interview with Tegan where she plans to plant a secret bug on her to expose her directly. And then they give each other goo-goo eyes.
And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand when everything's made to be broken. I just want you to know who I am.
And then we get a Madison jump scare. The little brown cat is fawning over the play, rizzing up Jessica's brilliant writing skills. This also serves to give us what happened in the rest of the play. Misty got kidnapped, Juniper saved her, and it was romantic, and there was a mansion scene, and the desks glowed. Oh man, where can I get a ticket for this thing? But before we continue with the rest of this, let's address the obvious. Yes, this whole play was just Jessica projecting and molding about Tess. Juniper is obviously meant to be Jessica. Tegan is Tess, Rena is Rachel stand-in, Morris is Matt, Jaden is, well, possibly a mix of Paulo and Jordan. Morris's little brother Albert is Rachel's little brother Aaron, with the leg breaking moment being a reference to Tess breaking Aaron's arm, and Misty Beacon, of course, is Madison. I also can't help but feel that Misty Beacon might also be a reference to the green light in The Great Gatsby, but I might just be overthinking it. It seems that not everyone was a fan of Jess's play. In fact, Rachel and Matt seem to be quite upset about some of the characters. Rachel points out how Rena seems to be inspired a lot by her, but Jess doesn't get it. Rachel storms off, but Jess stops her and explains her side about how she meant no harm by Rena. Matt isn't so convinced and is upset about being portrayed as a pushover, and when questioned on it, he backs down, but immediately steps right back up. And I believe this is the only time we've ever seen Matt get angry. Jessica digs herself into a deeper hole by stating none of the characters were based on anyone, but Rachel and Matt call her out on this. Jess shrugs them all off and chalks it up to her being so good at writing relatable characters, which only further angers Rachel, who points out Albert was clearly based on Aaron. Jess deflects by stating that Aaron and Albert are very different because Aaron broke his arm and Albert broke his leg. Also, that would mean Aaron was Matt's little brother based on Rachel's logic. Rachel somewhat accepts this explanation, but still wants Jessica to admit that Matt and her were basically in the play. Basically. Both Rachel and Matt are continuously frustrated by Jessica's continuous stonewalling, and she continuously digs a deeper pit by deflecting with people liking being put into stories. Jordan enters the fray, though upset on Tiff's behalf. Jessica at least agrees Tegan might slightly be based off Tiff because of the hair, but that isn't all, as Rachel and Matt remind Jessica of Tess as well, and she concedes that Tegan might be a little like her too. Jordan keeps simping, demanding an apology for Tiff, though Tiff found the play funny. She even liked Tegan and thanks Jess for basing her off her, which she accepts, which is wild considering Tegan is supposed to be the bad guy. But this does bring something up that I will get to in a moment. Rachel is still hurt about Jessica basically making a caricature out of their social group and making them all look bad, but Jessica maintains her innocence. And then we get the deepest callback in this entire comic. You see these two girls here? They're from a flashback in Pillow Talk. They made fun of Jess over some rumors that she was sleeping around and have now come to apologize because Jess's play made them realize how bad they made Jess feel in the moment because of how bad Juniper felt in the play, which is cool. We now have another loose end tied up and we didn't even know we needed it to be tied up. And of course, Jess accepts her apology and goes on to talk about how she put some of her life into the story, only making Rachel angrier. And there's the thing. Jess wants to have her cake and eat it too. Whenever someone has an issue with her story, she tries to distance herself from it as much as possible. But the moment someone likes what she's done, she's more than willing to accept that she put her own experiences into it. The senior squad isn't having any of it though, and decide to walk off with Tiff, who isn't thrilled about the idea of them sitting with her. Jessica protests and Matt wants to give her a chance, but Rachel gives him the look and he digresses. Madison finally steps up and can't understand why everyone is so upset. Rachel counters with the fact that Madison's stand-in had no flaws. This perplexes the girl and she asks Jess what character was meant to be her. Jessica's face says it all, clearly showing that there was a character based on her. Madison cluelessly asks if she was Rena, which actually got a genuine laugh out of me. You alright, Madison. Rachel keeps yelling at Jess about how she should have just talked to them if she had an issue with her friends. Jessica keeps denying, they argue and argue and argue, and Matt really just wants them to resolve it, and Rachel is too caught up in her feelings to let this go. She's not going to be stepped on any longer, and good for her, I say. If Paula's neglect of her has taught her anything, it's that she needs to stand up for herself more. Madison joins Matt's side, trying to cool the temperature between everyone, and the main cast just looks on anxiously. David seems to be enjoying it though. This chapter was so much fun. It's about time we got a funny little side chapter that bounces some lighthearted drama around. A lot of people were bored by this chapter and thought it was dumb or didn't understand the point of it. It was even to the point where Teshi made some comments about it in the draw stream about how people weren't understanding the point of it. This was also in context of her BCB spinoff that she wants to do, but I'll talk about that in a later video. People took the chapter too seriously, and I think this is a symptom of something BCB has always struggled with. Its tone. It can go from lighthearted goofiness to the most dead serious subject matter at the tip of a hat, and it's gotten to the point where people have a hard time distinguishing between the two. It's understandable that after the last few chapters, people would assume that this would have some earth-shattering consequences where the senior group has their own civil war, but nope, it's just a funny little misunderstanding over a dumb school play. I do think that Jessica genuinely didn't mean anything by her play. Matt is totally right here, but Rachel is just too upset to want to believe Jessica that the characters weren't intentionally inspired by them. I believe Jessica is mostly bluffing when she talks about implementing her own life experiences in sort of a, oh yeah, I totally meant for all of that kind of way. Now begs the question of, whose play was better, Sue's or Jessica's? Well, as I showed at the beginning of this video, the people have spoken and agree nearly unanimously that Sue wins this round. Sue's play was less self-serving and preachy, and all she wanted to do was help her friends out when they were at a low point with each other. It was a noble goal, to be sure. All Jess wanted to do was make a play about Tess bad, me good, my friends are a slut and a spineless worm. And look at all the havoc it's caused. Sue's play was nothing like that. Sure, she had some detractors, but it didn't cause anyone to get upset or make things awkward or lead to anyone trying to hurt themselves. Oh wait, I have to go now.
Here I go.